I didn't know they let ghetto trash into Oak Ridge now, Whitney said, loud enough for her voice to bounce off the marble columns. Her tone was sugar-coated cruelty, the kind that slices deeper because she wanted everyone to hear it. I guess they'll take anyone these days, as long as it helps their diversity numbers. A tray clattered to the cafeteria floor. Silence rippled through Oak Ridge Academy's grand hall. All eyes turned to where Whitney Caldwell, perfectly put together in her designer uniform, stood over Jasmine Taylor, the scholarship student, the outsider, milk dripping down her uniform, spaghetti sliding from her tray to the polished tiles. Whitney smirked as she deliberately crushed Jasmine's scattered notes under her shoes. Phones went up, recording every second like they were watching a show. You can't even hold a tray, huh? Whitney's manicured hand flicked another spoonful of pasta at Jasmine's face. What's wrong? Can't speak English. Or did they just let you in because your people are good at sports? Certainly wasn't for your brains. Jasmine's jaw locked tight. Her sensei's words echoed in her head. True power lies in knowing when not to strike. Her hands instinctively shifted into a defensive stance, but she forced them down. Whitney leaned closer, her perfume sharp, her whisper colder than ice. People like you don't belong here. Go back to whatever project you crawled out of. Laughter erupted around them, cruel and sharp. Jasmine stood slowly, wiping sauce from her cheek, eyes steady. For a moment, something dangerous flickered there, so controlled it made Whitney take a subconscious step back. Jasmine turned and walked away, her footprints marked by streaks of tomato sauce on marble, silent but defiant. Home was a different world entirely. Apartment 3B smelled of lemon cleaner and tea, the tiny living room doubling as Jasmine's bedroom. Grandma Ruth was in the kitchen, still in her scrubs, gray hair pulled into a tight bun, her tired eyes softening when she saw Jasmine. "How was school, baby?" she asked. "Fine." Jasmine lied, forcing a smile. No need to add her worries to Grandma's double shifts at Memorial Hospital. After dinner, Jasmine rolled out the worn mat her dad gave her for her 10th birthday. She closed her eyes, letting humiliation fuel her instead of crush her. Her movements flowed, sharp, precise, powerful. Every kick, every strike, told a story she never spoke aloud. Her father's voice still lived in those movements. Turn pain into power, Jazz. Always, her phone buzzed. Whitney's latest post. A photo of Jasmine kneeling to gather her ruined notes. Caption: Charity case having a bad day. Maybe she'll go back where she belongs. The comments stabbed like knives. Jasmine tossed the phone aside and pushed harder into her practice until the downstairs neighbor banged on the ceiling. 2 days later, an email popped up. National Taekwondo Championship registration deadline. 2 weeks. Entry fee, $2,000. She stared at the number like it was mocking her. Without that championship, her chance at a full-ride scholarship evaporated. But $2,000? They barely had enough for rent. That night at dinner, she didn't bring it up. Grandma already looked worn down, coughing between bites. Jasmine cleared the dishes in silence, knowing she had to figure this out herself. The next day at school, Whitney was holding court again. She mentioned the Oak Ridge Charity Showcase, a yearly event where wealthy students performed for wealthy parents. First prize? $2,500. Enough to cover Jasmine's championship fee, plus a little extra for Grandma's medical bills. Jasmine decided right there. She was entering. Ms. Powell, the PE teacher and former WNBA player, caught her practicing one afternoon. Watching silently for a moment, she finally said, "You move different, Taylor. That's not just gym class skill, that's training." Third-degree black belt, Jasmine admitted. MS. Powell bounced a basketball thoughtfully. "Then why let Whitney treat you like a doormat?" Jasmine hesitated, then said softly, "My scholarship depends on staying invisible." Powell shook her head. "Sometimes it's not about winning. Sometimes it's about being seen." That stuck with Jasmine. Weeks blurred by, training before sunrise, classes during the day, caring for Grandma at night, practicing until midnight. Her body ached, but her routine sharpened into something new. Part traditional Taekwondo, part storytelling. It wasn't just kicks and strikes anymore. It was her life, compressed into motion. One night, She overheard Whitney panicking to her friend Allison in the locker room. "I can't do it, Ally," Whitney whispered. "I copied this entire dance from a viral video, and I still can't get it right." Jasmine froze behind the door, heart pounding. Whitney Caldwell, the untouchable queen of Oak Ridge, was terrified. It fueled her resolve. She signed a showcase entry form that night under the name J. Taylor. Showcase night arrived. The Oak Ridge Performing Arts Center gleamed under spotlights, luxury cars pulling up the circular drive. Inside, wealthy parents in designer suits filled the velvet seats. Backstage buzzed with chaos, performers adjusting costumes and practicing lines. Jasmine slipped into her dobok, tying her black belt with deliberate precision. Around her wrist, she wrapped her father's gold chain like armor. When Whitney spotted her in the green room, realization dawned. "You're Jay Taylor?" she scoffed, loud enough for everyone to hear. "What is this, karate cosplay?" "Sweetie, this isn't a community center talent show." Jasmine met her gaze steadily. "It's Taekwondo, and we'll see what the judges think." When her turn came, Jasmine stepped onto the stage barefoot, the hush in the auditorium deafening. A haunting mix of Korean drums and modern bass thrummed through the speakers. She bowed deeply, inhaled, and began. The first movements were sharp, precise, rooted in centuries-old forms. The audience murmured, uncertain. Then she shifted, incorporating powerful board breaks, acrobatics, flying kicks, each movement faster, harder, stronger. Her father's chain flashed under the lights, every strike a tribute by the time she launched into a gravity-defying flying kick over 3 volunteers, the audience gasped. Then they erupted. Whitney's parents stopped whispering. Even Whitney's smirk dissolved into shock. Jasmine finished with her father's chain raised high, bowed, and stepped back. Silence. Then the entire auditorium rose, applause thundering so loud it shook the walls. Whitney took second place. Jasmine won first. $2,500 and a trophy that gleamed under the lights. Cameras flashed. Students cheered. The video of her performance hit Oak Ridge's socials within minutes, going viral by morning. Whitney confronted her backstage, fury trembling in her voice. "You humiliated me. My father, maybe practice an original routine next time," Jasmine said calmly, folding her uniform. Phones caught everything. By midnight, the clip of Whitney threatening Jasmine and Jasmine's effortless, composed response spread across the entire school. The next morning, Jasmine walked into Oak Ridge with her head high. Students nodded, some even stopping her to say they were inspired. In Headmaster Williams' office, Ms. Powell sat waiting with a small, proud smile. Williams leaned back in his chair. "Miss Taylor, your academic record is exemplary, and after last night, your scholarship is secure. Further, the board will be reviewing harassment policies moving forward." Translation: Whitney's reign was over. Weeks later, Whitney returned subdued, her power stripped away. One afternoon, she approached Jasmine quietly in the library. "My parents are making me apologize," she said stiffly. Jasmine tilted her head. "Is that all you're worried about?" Whitney hesitated. "They've never seen me fail before. Now it's all they see." For the first time, Jasmine felt a flicker of empathy. Maybe it's not about failing or winning. Maybe it's about being real. Whitney didn't reply, but she walked away slower, shoulders less rigid. Jasmine didn't win first place at nationals. She came in third, securing a partial scholarship and, more importantly, respect she'd earned on her own terms. Back at Oak Ridge, she launched the school's first martial arts club, teaching 20 students, some of whom once laughed at her. The administration rolled out new anti-harassment policies, imperfect but progressed nonetheless. One October evening, Jasmine stood in Master Park's dojang, coaching a shy 7-year-old whose family couldn't afford lessons. Jasmine had used part of her prize money to start a small scholarship fund for kids like her. "Remember," she told them, steady and warm, "Taekwondo isn't just about fighting. It's about knowing your strength, even when others don't see it yet." Outside, leaves drifted in the wind. Jasmine smiled, realizing she hadn't just won a showcase. She'd rewritten the story, and maybe it was only the beginning. If you were Jasmine, would you have kept your head down, or stood up and fought back? Drop your thoughts below. Let's talk about justice, pride, and what it really takes to change the game.